Hello everyone and welcome to the first ever official episode of UNIMAS Unscripted! Woo! The show where we talk about everything off script. So today joining us in the house is the mastermind himself, Sir AJ. Hi sir!
Hi everyone. Hi. Hi Demi.
Hi!
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me. So, before we start, me and the audience is wondering why a podcast? Why UNIMAS would need a podcast?
I think kita ikut peredaran zaman lah. We go with the times, right? Podcast started in 2006, and it was made famous by this British comedian called Ricky Gervais. He was the creator of the original Office. So he popularized the idea of podcasts, but it wasn't until the late 2020s that people started getting into podcasts, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah, the pandemic.
When people didn't have anything to do at home, so they started recording themselves, talking about stuff with their family, and then it evolved from there. So now it's a close to 20 billion US dollar industry. So it's a huge thing. So that's why we're studying a podcast for UNIMAS, and I think it's high time to introduce what UNIMAS can do in terms of our media outreach.
Yeah, I totally agree. But why a podcast? Why don't we start a blog or like a YouTube channel or like even a website?
I think blogs are obsolete. People don't really read stuff as much as they do. I mean, I used to have a blog during my younger years, but I don't have it now anymore. And a lot of bloggers now shift to more media savvy, more approachable content where people would rather see you talk about stuff rather than having to read about it. And podcast is a flexible and adaptable media that people can access anytime, anywhere. And it's not like a website. I don't think people go to websites to find podcasts unless a podcast is inserted into the website, right? Then they'll go to the website. But website is more for official purposes. So
Yeah, I do agree because people nowadays, they don't read as much. They like things to be visual and fast-paced because the new generation, as you know, we are obsessed with TikTok. It's like a short. Everything is so short. So I think us talking in a very fast pace is a very good way to spread information. And talking about TikTok, what other platform does this podcast goes to?
We're aiming for YouTube because I think with YouTube being accessible for any platform, either Android or Apple, iOS, we're aiming for that. And obviously it's free. So we're aiming for that. We're also aiming for Spotify. And some of the clips that are going to be highlighted here, I hope the editors are listening. We're going to edit them and put them into shorts and TikTok as well to attract more viewers. Yeah.
So like I just say, like, you're the mastermind behind this project. So would you like tell us a little bit what happened behind the scene and how did we get here?
I wouldn't say I'm the mastermind. So I was entrusted with this project by my superior officer, my boss, basically. And he said, AJ, you're going to do a podcast this year. So this is part of your job now. I've never done podcasts before. I've never done anything like this before. I'm actually very camera shy. So doing this is actually stepping out of my comfort zone. So behind the scenes was really tough because we need to find a dedicated team to actually bring this project to life. So I would like to personally thank the team from Alamanda. If you guys could like shout out yourself. I know you guys wouldn't be able to see them, but they are amazing young people.
Talented.
Talented. And if anyone looking for people to work with, I would highly recommend these individuals. I think they're amazing, and they're proving that young people are not clueless. You know, a lot of older generations, like my generation, think that your generation's spoiled, that you don't have a clear view of what you want to do in life. But I think with this podcast and the team that I'm working with, they're defining the odds. So I'm actually very, very thankful for the team, because without them, this wouldn't be
Yeah,
here.
they're bringing something fresh to the table. You know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, other than like the podcast, do you think like UNIMAS should do something more like other than the podcast, maybe social media influence?
Like what?
Because we did like something called UNIMAS Study. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good project. I think it helps us to find talented individuals who are creative, who are able to find initiatives and are able to reach bigger audiences. I think our UNIMAS Star project, I don't see any other universities doing it. I might be wrong about this, but I think it's one of the ways for the university to keep its relevance, to meet new markets, and having young people marketing the university on social media is, I think, a great way to attract younger people. You have to remember that social media is
very powerful.
It's very powerful. Yeah. It's open to anyone, right? So our goal is to keep people engaged, and so that, you know, I have received DMs from people like saying, "Oh, this is my dream university. I want to go here. I want to go here." And you know why? Because they see what UNIMAS has to offer through social media, through our UNIMAS stars, and hopefully through this podcast we're able to find
more people to connect with.
You know, I wouldn't be here, like, you know, so, you know, people would be able to sit here and express themselves more. So
social media, like, it's a boundless thing. Maybe you could like reach international like levels. You can attract international students, because as we know that UNIMAS has international students. Okay, so back to the topic, the podcast itself. Do you think it's gonna be like a long-term thing, or is it like maybe a short-term thing? Do we gonna have season 2 probably?
Well, again, it depends on the team, but I would hopefully think that I would call this a legacy project, where the team members will change, but the core idea will be there. They will be the ones teaching the new generation
on how to continue this project.
Because I don't want it to be like a one-off thing. So I've already told the team from the beginning that they're the ones who will lead the project. I wouldn't get the name, to be honest. I'm invited here to speak and introduce the podcast, but they're the ones whose names will be on the credit list, and people will go to the credit list and say, "Oh, this person is involved," or "This person is involved." So I hope with this project and the juniors coming in later on, when they watch this, "Oh, I want to be part of this."
It's like really opens like a whole new world of opportunities, because with this you can build up your resumes, build connections. It's a very beneficial thing. Talking about benefits, how do you think this podcast would benefit to like the whole of UNIMAS, not including the students, the staff also?
I think we can invite lecturers, researchers to talk about their research in a more relaxed manner. I think some of the issues that academicians face in terms of trying to reach out to larger audiences is people not understanding what they're trying to say when it's written on paper. It's very difficult.
Because it can come out as boring.
Academic research, academic paper is very boring, but when you talk about it, people come to life. People become passionate, and their message would come across better. You know,
that passion would like connect with other people.
Correct. Definitely, yeah.
So again, what are your hopes about this podcast, and what do you think this podcast should continue?
Well, obviously, I think the podcast should continue, right? I'm looking forward to completing season 1. Season 1, guys. So if we have season 1 already, then there should be upcoming seasons, because we already have the setup. We probably need more people to sponsor us. Thank you, UEC, for sponsoring the pillow and the water bottle stuff, tumbler, and of course, obviously, I think it's a great way to market our alumni as well. I'm sure we have a lot of successful alumni that we can invite and reach larger audiences. And hopefully, again, I hope that we will be consistent. I see this project like going to the gym, right? You know how some people, they just go to the gym once a year and stuff like that.
Just to take a picture.
Just take a picture and, you know, not remaining consistent. But people don't realize that it takes a whole lot of work to get to that perfect image of a physical image or whatever that you want to achieve. So I hope that is the comparison I'm doing, because consistency would breed success.
Yes.
So if we look at other podcast episodes, they don't just produce it, release it, and it becomes a hit. No,
Yeah, no.
we have to be patient.
We have to build out the motivation.
Correct. We have to build up the, not to say the hype, I think we have to build up like a personality. Slowly.
Sikit-sikit lama-lama jadi
Sikit-sikit.
bukit.
Betul. Memang macam tu. Kita kena sikit-sikit lah. Orang akan nampak, oh macam ni rupanya UNIMAS Podcast macam ni. Tapi bila orang tengok, dia akan macam rasa macam, UNIMAS Podcast seronoknya. Ada.
It's a unique thing.
It's a unique thing, yeah. I rasa the last, bila I cari information about if other universities ada podcast, dia orang ada, tapi it's more like academic setting. And macam contoh, ada satu university ni, the last podcast dia orang produce was 2018.
That was a long
It's a long time ago kan. So more than 5 years ago. So kalau kita start this trend, maybe other universities will tengok macam, bestnya.
Yeah.
Mungkin kita boleh collaborate and stuff like
back
that.
then, like podcast tak famous lagi.
2018, probably not a lot of people listen to podcast. It was an asing thing, you know. But now it's like bila, you know, keluar sekejap dah keluar, and then other influencers start to masuk sekali, dia orang tu macam, bestnya macam
it shows
podcast.
like UNIMAS keeps up with the time.
Correct.
We know how to manage our social media.
Correct. I think the most important thing is to showcase what our students can do. Alright, that's the main goal sebenarnya. Because whenever I see students buat production ke apa, I rasa macam bangganya. Walaupun I tak mengajar dia orang, walaupun I don't teach them or whatever, but seeing behind the camera how hardworking they are, how smart they are, how resourceful they are, passionate they are, it's really really amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not only just affects them, it's also affect nama UNIMAS.
Betul.
It's like a contribution to all.
Betul. I tak dapat nama again. I don't. This one gets named. The people gets named.
You're in the first episode.
Yeah, I'm in the first episode. All right. So yeah, what do you think of the podcast as a generation? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, as a Gen Z myself, I do like podcasts because it shows. It's a very simple way to show information, because we as Gen Z, we are literally, our phone is stuck to our like hands. We're like 24/7 on social media. I think if UNIMAS tends to like put out information, but on the UNIMAS website, I can safely say that no one's gonna read them. And this, how we talk, just sempoi vibes. It's a really special way to convey information to like the younger generation.
But do your generation listen to podcasts?
Yeah, a lot, because as you can see, like Emilia Anderson, like her podcast, very popular, a lot of views. I think like mostly of the viewers are like Gen Z and millennials. Not to say like the older generation doesn't watch podcasts. It's like more tend to attract the younger generations. And yeah, it's a very smart move by UNIMAS itself lah.
I think the most important thing moving forward is trying to find content that is relevant to
the times,
to the times and to the audience members watching. So if you guys have any ideas of what we can talk about in our podcast show, it will be really really great to, you know, just shout out in the comments.
Give any suggestion.
Give us any suggestions. You can DM us on Facebook, on Instagram,
Yeah,
on
if you
TikTok.
want to come as a guest,
Yeah,
go
you want to
ahead.
come as a guest? Why not? You know, we're open
To anyone.
To anyone. Yeah. So if you have a unique story to tell, a unique perspective that people have never thought about, join us. Yeah, I would love to have you on the show.
I would love to interview you.
Yeah. Right. So I think again, this podcast is a very great, awesome thing, and I can't wait to watch this and cringe myself.
Seriously.
Macam tu ke rupa aku, macam tu ke orang pandang aku?
Macam tu ke suara aku.
Kan? Oh my god. Yeah.
So I think we can start to wrap things up right now. One final question, and again, your hopes about this, and do you want this to be viral or anything like that?
I don't want it to be viral like in a bad way, but if people catch up on it and they see, bestnya ada benda ni, kita UNIMAS ada buat benda ni, sangat unique, sangat
Maybe
interesting.
we can attract people from the other unis or something.
Yeah, maybe we can attract people from other unis. Maybe we can attract I don't know, artists ke,
Artists?
you know, ada Taylor Swift kat sini ke, instead of Tammy macam tu kan. Kalau Taylor Swift kat sini, I akan interview. So don't buy Tammy.
Ya, duduk tepi je, duduk belakang je.
Diam je. I akan interview Taylor Swift. But anyways, yeah, wrapping up, thank you so much. I hope the support for the podcast will continue to thrive, and thanks for having me, Tammy.
Yeah, thank you, Sir AJ, and thank you, UNIMAS Corporate, for giving me the opportunity to be, you know, your host for the next season, probably. Maybe I'll make a comeback, who knows. So yeah, thank you for watching UNIMAS Unscripted, the show where we talk about everything off script. So see you guys again next episode. Bye.
Bye.